Hi, it's Lisa here, and I'd like to give you an update and tell you all about a really exciting project that I've been working on recently. Nordic Viola, established by violist Catherine Wren, who performs with the Royal Scottish National Orchestra, is currently working on a project called On a Wing and a Prayer. It involves Catherine visiting rural areas where certain composers live, exploring habitats which are under threat in those areas, and working with the composer to devise a related concert to be performed in that local area. Previous iterations of the project took place in Deeside with Pete and Joe Stollery and in Shetland with Renzo Spiteri. We have been working on our section of the project and are now preparing for the final performance which has emerged from it. My home area, Morvern in the West Highlands, has several very important habitats which are under threat. We have some extensive patches of Atlantic rainforest, a relatively rare example of native woodland in Scotland, where some particularly rare species of lichens can be found. We are so lucky in Morvern to have this rainforest habitat and these beautiful lichens which are incredibly sensitive to factors such as air quality, moisture and temperature. Really, there are very few areas which are suitable for them. However, they face multiple threats, from changes in land use to climate change, with particular risks including extended periods of drought. The lichens are so beautiful, and I've long been fascinated by their intricate complexity when you look really closely at them, and the sheer variety of species which are all joined together and working in harmony with each other and with the trees and other plant and animal species that make up a woodland altogether. In fact, the idea of zooming in on tiny details, as well as the symbiotic relationship within a lichen organism and its relationship to the rest of the woodland, is something I've reflected in my music several times previously. Catherine visited Morvern in late May for a residency period, and together we did a mixture of exploring habitats, speaking to local environmental experts, project planning and improvising. During one visit to look at lichens with local environmental expert Alistair Firth, we noticed that some of the lichens, particularly those called script lichens, looked really like writing, hence the name. We wondered if we might be able to interpret this writing as music. We decided to use pictures of some of the lichens as graphic scores, reading the patterns as if it were music notation for the script lichens, and for other species reflecting the textures or the character that we perceived in them. It's been a fascinating process improvising and experimenting with sounds in this way, creating music directly from the lichens themselves. It will be really exciting to hear what emerges from these improvised sections during the performance. As well as these improvisations, sections of field recording, and other related repertoire by composers I'm deeply inspired by, Anna Thorvaldsdottir and Judith Weir, I've recently finished writing a 10-minute piece which will form part of the performance. It will be a fixed notation piece for a string trio, which will be the final piece of the concert. While working together in Morvern on this project, two things really stood out to us, and these were the power of water and the power of community. Amid threats from the climate crisis, which are very evident in Morvern already, there are so many positive stories of action being taken by our community, reflecting the good stewardship of the land which goes back thousands of years here. A silver lining to the occasionally challenging abundance of rain that we have here in Morvern is its suitability for rainforest habitat, and the thought of the power that Morvern's hydro schemes must be generating. As of 2021, with the opening of the community-owned hydro scheme at Bar in Morvern, the rain here generates benefits for the community, as well as green energy benefiting the planet. Because of the hydro schemes, Morvern now produces approximately 9 times the amount of electricity that we use in a year. This piece, which is called Our Luce, which means our power in Gaelic, follows the journey of raindrops from their formation in the clouds to falling delicately in the rainforest, where we hear energetic birds singing and bustling sounds like the textures of the lichens and other species. The musical rain forms a flowing stream which emerges into music which is joyful and thriving. The threat of environmental pressures and climate change impact on the progress of the water, and this thriving and joyful music becomes choked. Positive action begins to emerge as the rain starts again, The rocking rhythm of the motion made by one of the local hydro schemes blends with fragments of the tune of a song called Don Chuig, to the Cuckoo, by Morvern's famous Gaelic bard Dr. John McLaughlin, who died in 1874, 150 years ago this year, which shows the long-standing connection between people and nature in Morvern. The piece ends with the energy and power of nature and the community to spring into action and face up to the threats. Catherine and I, alongside cellist Ruth Rowlands, will be performing On a Wing and a Prayer on the 27th of July in the beautiful, remote St. Columba's Chapel in Drimnin, Morvern. It will be a really special performance, especially considering that the chapel is surrounded by some fantastic examples of rainforest habitat. I'm really looking forward to sharing the performance with our local community, and I'm delighted that it will also be recorded, with an online version to be released soon after the concert. Watch this space.